Many of us are familiar with the experience of work, or taking care of a loved one, or stress, and then we finally relax. Maybe we even go on vacation. Like, oh, now I'm finally going to get the break. And then we get sick. And that's because the adrenaline response crashed and your immune system crashed with it. So please understand this. Now, many of you might say, well, how long? Is it 2 hours? Is it 3 hours? A lot of you out there that really like specificity. It will vary for everybody. I would just kind of use a rule of thumb. When you are no longer able to achieve good sleep, what good sleep means to you, and please see the episodes on sleep if you want more about tools to sleep. When you are no longer able to achieve good sleep, you are now moving from acute stress to chronic stress. You need to be able to turn the stress response off. If I have one wish, well, I have many wishes for this lifetime, but if I have one wish today that I hope will permeate and spread out there, is this idea that we need from a young age, but even as adults and forever, we need to learn how to turn off our stress response. Physiological sigh is one. If we're going to activate our stress response intentionally by ice baths, cold showers, cyclic hyperoxygenated breathing, aka Tumo breathing or Wim Hof breathing, we also need to learn how to press the brake. Okay, so let's think about the stress system. It knows how to activate itself. Now we're talking about a way of deliberately activating your stress system in order to combat infection. I do this from time to time. I might feel a tickle in my throat or like I'm getting kind of run down. I will do this kind of breathing. I do. I will take 25 or 30 breaths, exhale, hold my breath. 25, 30 breaths again, exhale, hold my breath for about 15 seconds. 25, 30 breaths again, exhale, hold my breath for 25 or 30 seconds, then a big inhale, and I hold my breath until I feel the impulse to breathe. Again, I feel it's safe for me. I've run it by my doctor, so it's fine. You should not do this unless it's right for you, but I do this. Some people like the ice bath. I rarely do the ice bath. Some people like cold showers. I like hot showers. So I take hot showers, but I do this kind of breathing. Again, they are all having more or less the same effect of increasing adrenaline, and which allows you to combat the infection because you're activating the immune response. When you are stressed in your mind and body, so you're feeling really agitated, activated, and worried, and you use a tool like the physiological sigh or exhale emphasized breathing, you will notice that then your brain and your mind becomes more available for controlling the stress response and reacting to it, which is great because the sweet spot in life is to be, provided you're not trying to sleep, is to be alert and calm. And so that's the idea, is to be alert and calm and to bring you back into that sort of plane of alertness. For those of you that have trouble sleeping or just relaxing through the day, the physiological sigh can be repeated for 10, 15 cycles if you like. Some people find that it actually puts them to sleep. So if they lie down and they're reading and they do too many of these, that actually can put them to sleep. And what you'll find is that most breath work protocols, the kind of stuff that's done away from real life, that you set aside time and decide to do quote unquote breath work, most of that works such that if you're doing inhales that are longer and more vigorous than exhales, it tends to be activating and alert you. And if you're doing exhales that are longer or more vigorous than the inhales, it tends to put you to sleep. And many of the protocols that are out there from laboratories and that are on, populate the internet and wellness sites and whatnot, if it's exhale emphasized breathing, oftentimes has been used as a tool for trying to teach people to fall asleep. Physiological sigh is a little different. It's designed to be used in real time. Just think of it as just kind of in your kit of things that you can do as life happens and as you need to react to life. A note about nasal versus mouth breathing. There's a plethora of information out there now because of James Nestor's book, Breath, The New Science of a Lost Art, which came out this last year. Excellent book. As well as Jaws, which is from Sandra Kahn, Paul Ehrlich, with a foreword by Jared Diamond and Robert Sapolsky. So a collection of people from Stanford. Jared Diamond's not at Stanford, but the rest are. And some heavy hitters on that book, which is about the benefits of nasal breathing. And in many cases, nasal breathing is more advantageous than mouth breathing for all sorts of things. Cosmetic features of the face, especially in kids, warding off infection, etc. With the physiological sigh, the best way to do it would be double inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. But if you can't and you can only do that through your mouth, just do it through your mouth. If you want to do it all through your nose, do it through your nose. This anchors back to some underlying neurology or neuroscience. So for those of you that want to know, you have two breathing centers, one that's involved in rhythmic breathing for inhales followed by exhales, followed by inhales, followed by exhales, the so-called pre-Botzinger nucleus, named after a bottle of wine, and discovered by Jack Feldman at UCLA, and a nearby nucleus called the parafacial nucleus, also discovered by Jack Feldman at UCLA. And the parafacial nucleus is involved in anytime you double up the inhales or double up the exhales. It was designed so that you could breathe while you're speaking, because you can't always go inhale, exhale when you're speaking. So I tell you this not to overwhelm you with knowledge, but just know that when you double up your inhales or you double up your exhales, you are activating this parafacial nucleus, and it has other cool effects. Because it's located near the neurons that control the face, it also has a tendency to relax the jaw. There's some interplay between the neurons that control the speaking stuff and the stuff for your tongue. So all of a sudden, when we do this physiological sigh, we tap into neural circuitry that allows us to speak more clearly, to control the muscles of the face and jaw. Maybe that means not saying certain things when we're stressed, and just generally to relax. And so this brings us back to the neuroscience of this parasympathetic nervous system, this calming system that's been genetically encoded into us, that we all have regardless of who our parents are, which is that the neurons that control all this stuff, the face, the eyes, etc., are all working together. And that's why when we get stressed, it's hard for us to speak, or we tend to jitter and these kinds of things, just like all the neurons that cause stress in the center of the spinal cord are working together to get our body activated.